Fine. So today's class, we are going to learn input and output statements in Java. Okay, so input statements means reading input from the user. Output statements mean presenting the output to the user. We have printf and scanf, right? Input and output statements in C language. Printf is used to print the characters to the output screen, to the console. And scanf is used to read input from the user. Scanf, getchar, gets, such kind of functions, right? So in Java, today we are going to learn how to take input values from the user and how to present the values. You all know system.out.println is used to present the characters onto the screen. Fine. So let me open an editor. So let me take a class, some IO demo. This is my class name and this is the main method. Here you already have hello world, right? You all know. If I save and compile and execute this program, I'm going to get the output as hello world. So let's save IO demo. The file name is IO demo. The same folder. The directory is changed now. Local disk G it is now. Okay, fine. So IO demo. Go to the command prompt. I have changed the color and the size. G, right? Okay. CD Java. And the compilation code Java C IO demo. IO demo dot Java. So compilation is going on. Compilation successful. Now let's run the code. That is Java, the class name IO demo. Output is hello world, right? Fine. So this is a printing statement, output statement. So in this output statement, we have something like system followed by dot, followed by out, followed by dot again, and followed by print ln. We use it to have just printf here in C language. But in Java here, we have system.out.println. So now I'm not gonna explain you each thing because it is too early for you. In the later classes, we shall going to know what is system here, what is class here, what is println here. For now, you just remember that println means it's a method. Use it to print output onto the screen. We have print and println. If I just give print system.out.print, it would display me in the same line. If I give ln means it would display me in the next line. Okay, so it will display and move to the next line. Print ln means you better every time you give print ln only. In C we used to give slash n. Of course, here also if I include slash n, this character is considered as escape sequence and it will be considered as enter button. So now hello and world will be separated with a line. Not only in C language, in Java also you can use these escape sequences. But other than this, we have print ln method directly. Need not to mention slash n in the printing statements. You can simply use print ln to move to the next line. That's it. Okay, so now let's save and compile again. We shall get the hello world in separate lines. There you go, hello and world. Okay, the slash ns also works. But every time you need not to give because we have println method only. Okay, so assume I have a equals to some 10, some 100. I want to display output as, if I want to display output as 100, I would just give a. Okay, so system.out.println a is enough. In here in Java, you need not to mention the format specified, that is percentage %d, percentage %f, percentage %s, percentage %c, percentage. You need not to mention all this because Java follows polymorphism, right? Therefore, we have several methods to print integer, float, etc. Okay, polymorphism concept వచ్చినప్పుడు చెప్తానులే. You need not to bother. Sir is saying something like polymorphism. What is that? We shall see in the later classes. For now, you just remember you need not to mention percentage D, percentage F, percentage C, these kind of format specifiers in Java. Those are required in C only. Okay, here you can directly mention A. So therefore, this will give output hello world, and in the next line 100. Compile, run, hello world and 100, right? Good. Next, sir, I want to give display the output as A equals to 10. Not just 100. I want to display A equals to 100. Okay, here we have displayed just 100, right? Just 100. Now I want to display A equals to 100. Therefore, in the printing statement, you need to give both string and a variable. That is, you need to concatenate. Is my audio clear, right? Audio, video? Fine, fine, fine. Okay. So here, I want to display A equals to 100. That means, listen, A equals to is a string and 100 is the value inside the variable A. Okay, here you need to see only this thing is the value inside A. But A and equals to, these two are string itself. Therefore, mention it as string. Okay, A equals to, give some space if you want. Okay, here I want some space, assume. So A equals to space is a string. A equals to space. I mentioned it here in double quotes. Now, in C language, actually in C language, we use it to give like this, right? A equals to percentage D, double quotes close, and here mention the variable list. In this way, we use it to give. But here, you need not to mention the format specifier, right? So simply you can give A equals to some space. And here I want to, after that, I want to display which value? The value inside A. Therefore, you just simply need to mention A. That's it. Okay. But ikkadto saripodu. What you need to do is, listen, this would print. Listen, here you can see, right? I have string here. I have string. I'm printing string here. And here I'm printing a variable value directly. Right? Fine. So now I'm combining these both two. This part is string and this part is variable. The value inside variable will be going to be displayed. But here I need to concatenate these two. The string part and the value part should be concatenated. And the concatenation operation in Java is plus symbol only. Okay, so this is the correct statement. Now what is going to happen means, in the double quotes there is string, right? So whatever there in the double quotes, it is going to display as it is. So A, one character displayed. Next, equals to one character displayed. Next, space, one character displayed. That's it. The string part is over. Now after that, the variable is going to be printed. The variable value is going to be printed. That is 100. But this is string and this is variable part, right? You need to concatenate them. That's it. So now I'll get A equals to 100. Hello world, 100. A equals to space 100, right? That's it. So you can include anything in the string. The result is, if I want to display the result is some colon. Now this whole string will be printed. After that, the value inside A will be printed. This is how you display output onto the screen in Java. There you go. The result is 100. Is that clear? Fine. So now let us see how to take values from a user. Okay, before that, let us perform addition of two numbers. Suppose I have A and B equals to 100, and also later C equals to some A plus B. Okay. So now I want to display. Here, listen. In the output, I want to display 100 plus 200 equals to the result. Here 100 means not a string, the value inside A. Here 100 means the value inside A. Next, plus is a string itself character. Next, 200 is not the string, it's a value inside B. Next, equals to is the string itself again. Now 300 means the value inside C. Not only 100, 200, I can give anything here. Inside A, I can assign anything to A and B. These values will be added here and stored in C. And in the result, in the output screen, I would like to display in this format the value inside A plus the value inside B plus, followed by equals to and followed by the value inside C. Can anyone tell me how you need to give the string? Guess? No one? Vinita? Hello? Vinita?
Yes, sir.
చెప్పగలవా?
No, sir, no idea.
So listen, simple. This is value inside A. That means the A itself. You do not know which value A is going to hold. It may vary. Of course, now you are a programmer, right? So you can see just 100 is assigned. But you cannot simply give 100. Sometimes you need to read values from user also. And you do not have any idea what value the user is going to enter. So you better mention A only. And the value inside A, whatever it be, it will be displayed. So here I want the value inside A. Therefore, I have mentioned A directly. Next to that, I have a string, right? Next to that, I have a string. Therefore, you need to mention that in double quotes, right? This is a string part. You need to mention that in double quotes. But the variable part and string part must be concatenated, right? With operator plus. So you need to mention, you need to concatenate this string part and this variable part with this concatenate operator. Okay, now after plus symbol you need to print the value inside B. Okay, the value inside B, therefore mention B here, directly B. But again there is a string part followed by variable part, therefore you need to again concatenate with plus symbol. So variable part concatenation with string part, concatenation with variable part. After that, after B value is printed, again you have string part. So now here again mention string part. What is the string? Equals to. But here B and string part is one after other, right? So you need to combine it with concatenation symbol, that is plus. Okay, so listen, this is variable part followed by string part followed by variable part followed by string part followed by variable part. For each part you need to concatenate with the concatenation operator. Okay, after the equals to, again you need to display a variable part C. But here again you need to concatenate. So this is the statement. The value inside A plus the value inside B equals to the value inside C. Got it? So let us save and compile and run. There you go. 100 plus 100 equals to 200. So let me give B equals to 200. Now it would display 100 plus 200 equals to 300. That's it. Okay, in this way, you can display the values inside variables along with the string with concatenation operator to the output screen. Okay, is that clear? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now, this is with output statements, and I told you I am going to explain system, the meaning of system here, and what is the meaning of out and println, each part in the later classes. Once you get good idea on Java, then only you can understand. Okay. So for now, you just remember the printing statement is this syntax. Println is the method. Who is that? Mute the audio. Pushmita, mute it. Fine.
సార్
Yeah.
సార్ సార్ మనం సిలోని వేరియబుల్స్ కి రన్ టైమ్ లో వాల్యూస్ ఇస్తాం కదా, అలాగా జావాలో కూడా ఇవ్వచ్చా?
రన్ టైమ్ లోనా? ఇస్తాం కదా, ఎందులోనే ఇస్తాం, అదేగా నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్.
Ah.
బిగినింగ్ లోనే చెప్పాను కదా, యూఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు సీ ఇన్పుట్ అండ్ అవుట్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్. ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ మీన్స్ రీడింగ్ ద డేటా ఫ్రమ్ ద యూజర్. అదేగా రన్ టైమ్ లో వాల్యూస్.
స్కాన్ఎఫ్ లేదు కదా అందులోని, అందుకే అడిగాను.
ఉంటుంది, దీనికంటూ ఉంటుంది. సీరియస్ స్కాన్ఎఫ్ లాగా దీనికంటూ సెపరేట్ ఉంటుంది.
ఓకే
అలా
సార్.
యూజర్ నుండి డేటా తీసుకుపోతే ఆ లాంగ్వేజ్కి అర్థం లేదు, అవసరం లేదు ఇంకా. ఓకే, సో నౌ let us see how to read values from the user, the next part. So output statement is done. Now let us see how to read input from the user. So here, what would be the input types mainly? You need to go with the data types first. Okay, the user is going to enter different data, and the data would be integer type and float type, of course character type mainly. If the range is more, you would go for long type. If the decimal part range is more, you would go for double type. Okay. Other than that, we have Boolean type also. Boolean means true or false. You didn't find Boolean type in C language, but here we have Boolean. It would take two values, true and false. In C, we use it to give 1 and 0. 1 and 0. But here in Java, you need to give true and false only. Okay. And other than that, you have few more data types, integer family, like byte. Byte means range, I mean integer only, but between a small range, like minus 128, 127 to plus 128, like that, something. You can go refer the notes. Next, short is also there. Short means from 32,000 to minus 32,000, 33,278 something ఉంటుంది కదా, to plus 33,000, 32,000 అలా. Int means here it takes 4 bytes. 4 bytes. In C, it used it to take 2 bytes, but here it is going to occupy 4 bytes. Therefore, you can give more values. Not only up to 32,000, you can give beyond that. Of course, you can get the range and size from the textbook. You need not to worry. In this way, it has totally 8 data types. Okay, Boolean, double, long, char, float, int, short, byte, just 8 data types. So fine. If the user is going to listen, in C language, to read all the types, to read any kind of data, you use it to have scanf function. Scanf function was able to read integer type, character type, float type, any type, right? Even string also with percentage s modifier. And of course, for strings, you have get, char, and gets like that. But here in Java, to read a byte value, the function is, the method is next byte. Okay, this is the method, not scanf. This is the method. Now, to read the short value, the method is next short. So the method name starts with small letters only, but a new word is going to occur. It will not take space, but it will just start the new word with capital letter. Okay. Now next int. For integer values, the method is next int. Same way for float, next float. For character, you need to go with strings. You don't have next char like that. So let's not worry about it. For long, next long. For double, next double. Okay. So main give them. So let us see. Assume you are going to take 2 values. Let us go with addition of 2 numbers. Okay. Addition of 2 numbers program, where you are going to read user input from the user. Okay, addition of 2 numbers. So now let us start with, let me modify in this class only. So here I'm going to have 3 variables, right? A, B, C. I'm going to read input from the user and store it into A and B, and later I'm going to add them and store it in C and display the result in C, result from C. Okay. So first you need to take the data. of course, let us ask him. First step is, let us display the characters to the user saying enter two numbers. Okay, so that is output statement, right? System dot out dot println of the string. Enter two numbers. Display this string to the user. Okay, now he will enter the two numbers. Immediately we used to have scanf, but here the scenario is different, right? So we need to use which method? I said next int. Next int is the method used to read one integer value from the input console, okay, from the keyboard. Next int is the method used to read input from the user. Input means integer value. Here we are going to perform addition of two numbers, right? Therefore, he is going to enter numbers only. So we shall use this method, next int. This is going to read one integer value from the user. And now this integer value has to be stored somewhere, right? So let us say, so A is going to store the value. Actually, we use it to have scanf %d. We used to tell the compiler, tell the program that read a number and store it in A using the address of operator. In this way, I used to tell the scanf function to read me a number and store it in A. But here we need to give next int method. Therefore, what is going to happen? The JVM will read an integer value from the user. Now it will assign the value to A. Okay, so this is simply like gender equals to getchar. We used to have, like, right, in C language, getchar. Getchar function will read the single character and we will store it in the character called a variable called gender in this way. That's it. Even this is also right. Int length equals to int l equals to strlen of some string ram rom. Okay, so what is going to happen? This function is going to find the length of the string and it is going to return the number, the length. It is going to store in L. The same syntax is here. I mean, scanf key next int ki confusion avadu. In scanf the syntax is different, but here in next int the syntax is this way. Next int, just mention the next int. It will read an integer value from the user. Now that value has to be assigned to a variable left to it. Okay, so this is the syntax. We used to give inside the parenthesis in C language, but here you need to mention a variable left to it. So don't get confused. Okay, the syntax is different. Fine. And here the advantage in Java is you can declare there itself. Actually, in C, we use it to declare all the variables at the top right, beginning itself. Throughout the program, whatever variables you are going to use, you need to declare them beginning itself. But in Java, wherever the variable appearing first time, you can declare it there itself. That is the advantage. So I need not to declare here only. I can declare the first time it is where it is going to appear. Okay. So enter two numbers. Is going to enter two numbers. One number is read and it is stored in A. Let us read next number. Same. Next number means the function is next int. And we store it in variable. Let us say B. We did not declare it, right? So therefore declare itself. Declare here itself. Okay. So this is the way to read two numbers from the user. Next int, next int. Okay, fine. Now what we need to do, you need to add them. A plus B. Store it in a variable called C. Declare it. That's it. And next, display the output. You know how to display? The printing statement is system.out.println. I want to display as the result is, whether the sum is. The sum is which one concatenated with C. That's it. This is the syntax. But here, it is not going to be so simple. Actually, this line is right, but there is an error going to come. Okay, an error is going to occur at this line. Why? Actually, the syntax is right. Yes, we need to read the value. We need to read the number using next int only. So we have read and storing it in some variables. But see what the compiler is going to say. I'm going to get two errors. Line number 7, line number 7 and line number 8 saying cannot find the symbol next int. Here it is showing error at next int. Again, here it is showing error at next int at line 8. Okay. Why means, now listen carefully. Why it is showing error? Actually, we used to call some functions, right? Here we used to have some void, some display function, display method, I should say method, because they are included inside class, right? Fine. We used to have methods and we used to call these methods by creating an object. This method belongs to IODemo class. And this is an instance method. So this instance method has to be called by creating an object for this class. You all know. Same way, here now I am going to, here I am calling some method, next int. These method doesn't belong to our class, right? Do I have any next int method here? No. Then how can you call some method which is not available in your class? Next int method is not available. But still we are calling. That means I told you next int method is used to read integers from the user in this way. But next int is not present in our class. That means this next int belongs to some other class. It is not in our class. It belongs to some other class of some other package something. Advainda, is the point is clear? We are calling some method next int, but this next int method doesn't belong to our class. It means this method belongs to some other class. If it belongs to some other class, first you need to create object for that class, right? First you need to know which class does this next int belong to. The first question should be, yes, the point is clear. Next int is use it to read value from the user. It will help us to read value from the user. But first you know which class does this next int belong to. And next question is whether it is static method or instance method. Okay, let me repeat. We have a facility to read the integer value from user, that is using nextInt method. But you cannot use the nextInt method directly because it doesn't belong to our class. The first question is which class does this nextInt belong to? And the second question is whether it is static method or instance method. If it is static method, you can call it on the class name itself. If it is instance method, you need to create an object for that class, and on that object you need to call this method. Advainda? Hello? సో తెలుగులో చెప్తున్నా, సారీ. ఇన్పుట్ రీడ్ చేయడానికి, ఇన్పుట్ అంటే ఏ ఇన్పుట్? ఇంటీజర్ ఇన్పుట్ రీడ్ చేయడానికి నాకున్న ఫంక్షన్ ఏంటి? మనకి జావాలో ఉన్న ఫంక్షన్ నెక్స్ట్ ఇంట్ ఫంక్షన్ ఉంది. కానీ నెక్స్ట్ ఇంట్ ఫంక్షన్ మన క్లాస్లో లేదు కదా, అంటే వేరే క్లాస్లో ఎక్కడో ఉన్నట్టు అర్థం. సో వేరే క్లాస్లో ఉన్న ఫంక్షన్ని, వేరే క్లాస్లో ఉన్న మెథడ్ని నేను డైరెక్ట్గా కాల్ చేయలేను కదా. ఎలా కాల్ చేయాలి? ఫస్ట్ ఆ క్లాస్ నేమ్ తెలుసుకోవాలి. క్లాస్ నేమ్ తెలుసుకున్న తర్వాత అది స్టాటిక్ ఫంక్షన్, ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఫంక్షన్ అని తెలుసుకోవాలి. స్టాటిక్ ఫంక్షన్ అయితే క్లాస్ నేమ్ మీద కాల్ చేయాలి. ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఫంక్షన్ అయితే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి దాని మీద కాల్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, ఇన్స్టెన్స్ మెథడా స్టాటిక్ మెథడా తెలుసుకుందాం. సో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ the answer is it belongs to scanner class. Okay, inbuilt class unnai scanner. We have a class scanner. Okay, let me show you with a diagram. So we have a class scanner. Inside that you have a method. Which method? NextInt method. Not only nextInt, I have shown you next float, next double, next long, all this, right? All these methods belong to this scanner class. Okay. So now The next question. So we got the answer for the first question. Next, which class does this method belong to? Next one belong to scanner class. And next question is what type of method it is? Instance method or static method? And the answer is instance method. Okay, instance method. So therefore, you need to create object for that instance method for that class, right? Before using the instance method on the in this program, you need to create object for that class. So let us create. And what is the syntax for creating object? The class name and the object equals to new and the call to constructor scanner. Okay, actually we used to have like this. But here you need to mention something to the constructor system.in. That means take the values from system input devices. Okay, listen, you all know this part. This part is creating syntax for creating object for a class, right? Then the class is scanner. Only this one, this part is new to you. You just follow it. You can understand it later. Okay, simply saying it is system input devices. Okay, so this is the syntax for creating object for this scanner class. And why you need to create object for scanner class? To use the instance method nextInt which belong to scanner class, you need to create object. And on that object, now call the nextInt method. Okay, fine. So that's it. Scanner s equals new scanner of system.in s.nextInt. Okay. I mean, on that object, we are calling the instance method nextInt. Now let us save and try to run. Work out the. We shall see whether it is going to work or not. My answer is no. Compile. Yes. It is still showing error, but this time the error is some. This is something new, not the previous error. This error is showing at the line scanner, object creation line. Why? That means here you need to learn a new concept. In C language, you use it to have header files, right? Whenever we are using scanf and printf in our program, actually you would start from void main only in your notes. Your notes is you need to start, I mean, you used to start from void main only. But whenever in our program we use scanf and printf function, you need to do one more thing. What is that? You use it to add an header file to it, right? Header file hash include stdio.h. What does that mean? That means scanf and printf doesn't belong to our program. Scanf and printf functions belong to some other header file. So if you use scanf for printf, if you use any of these functions, you should include that header file to our program. That is the meaning of this line. Okay, the very first line C program is hash include stdio.h usually. And the meaning is I'm using scanf and printf functions in my program, but these functions doesn't belong to my program. These functions belong to a header file called stdio.h. Therefore, I need to include this header file to my program. Linker అని ఉంటది కదా, compiler linker. So linker comes and links this header file to my program. Same way, one more point, if we use some sqrt function, we use it to include math.h header file. If you use any string functions, you use it to include string.h header file. Like that, here, this class, scanner class, doesn't belong to our folder. What is our folder? Let me show you. Listen, ఇక్కడ confuse అవ్వకండి. One thing I want to show is, what is that? G drive Java folder. See, in this folder we have several classes: abc.class, c1.class, c2, c3, cdemo, guess, Jiddu, Jasmine, XYZ class, now iDemo class. Okay, iDemo class. These all classes belong to same folder. So if you use any of these class methods, you can directly create object for that. You need not to import anything. You need not to include any header files. Okay, Jarthavanandi, if all the classes, if you are, let me create a class here, class some let us say India. Okay, I have a class India here. Let me have a method AP here. Okay, fine. Now let me compile, save. Okay, compilation means it will get error, right? Let me remove this and then compile. Okay, so see carefully. I have iDemo class and I have India class. So let me save and compile this. Compilation successful. Now go to the folder, refresh it, check. There will be a class called India. Where is it? Where is it? Yes, here you go. You have class net India. What does actually happen? What has happened means, if you include any class, if we compare any class, the number of classes you have in your program, and if you compile, all the classes are going to generate dot class files. Okay, you can have any number of class in your program. When you compile dot classes file, I mean the bytecode will be generated for all the classes. And now if I create object for this India class, India I equals to new India, and I can call AP, the method AP, which belongs to that India class on the object of India, that is I. Yes, this is valid. This is the process, right? We all know. If you want to access instance method of any class, first you need to create object for that class, and on that object you need to call the methods. So this is valid, perfectly valid. So save and compile. This doesn't generate any error. The compilation is successful. Why means these two classes belong to the same folder, belong to the local disk G Java folder only. India is there here only, and iDemo class is also there here only. And even I can call a method from Kutti class also. I can call method from MECS class also. Though they belong to other programs. Actually, you have no idea of calling a method from other program in the current program, right? Yes, it is possible. You can call Navya function. In the previous example we have seen, right? I have given you homework. You can call Navya function here also, just by creating object to that class. And it is possible because all these classes are stored in single folder, this folder only, same folder only. This is, you call it as package also. Okay, but now what I'm going to do here is our actual program. Come back to our actual program. Here we are creating class to a class. We're creating object to a class called scanner, right? We are creating object to a class called scanner. But do we have any class called scanner here? No, right? We do not have any class called scanner here. When I created object for India class, when I created object for India class and called AP method on it, it doesn't generate any compilation error because India class, India.class belong to this folder only. It is available here. But here I'm creating object for scanner class, but there is no dot class scanner class file in this folder. That is why it is saying what is that thing called scanner, like that. Cannot find the symbol scanner. Did you understand? Point advainda? Confusing unda? Hello? Vinita, Pavitra, respond fast.
అర్థమైంది సార్.
So therefore what we need to do is, we need to know, we need to ask the third question. What was the first question? which class does this next in belong to? The answer was scanner. And the next question was, what kind of method it is? Instance or static? The answer was instance. Therefore, we thought to create object for the scanner class and call the next method. Now, the third question is, which folder does this scanner class belong to? Which folder does this scanner class belong to? Folder in the sense, in Java, you call it package. You can think it as header file. Okay. You can think it as header file. ఓకే ఏ హెడర్ ఫైల్లో ఈ స్కానర్ క్లాస్ ఉన్నది స్కానర్ printf belong to std.h header file, right? Same way, now you need to know which package, which header file, which folder this scanner class belong to, and the answer is util, java.util package. Okay, java.util package this scanner class belong to. Okay, not only this scanner class, you will have several classes in this folder, in this package, in this header file. ఏ నేమ్ అయినా పిలుచుకోండి, మెయిన్గా అయితే జావా టర్మ్స్లో ప్యాకేజ్ అంటాం. We have several classes in this util package. అవన్నీ తర్వాత తెలుస్తుంది, ప్రస్తుతానికి you need to know only scanner. Okay, therefore what we need to do, we need to include this. Just like how we use it to include stdio.h to our program, now we need to include this util package, java.util package to our program. But here we do not call it including, we call it importing. Okay, importing, not including. Import nothing but just like hash include. Hash include is replaced with import here. You can think in that way. So import what? This package, java.util package. Inside util package, which class I want to import? Scanner class. So this is the line. Okay, you will learn in the later classes exactly, but simply you just remember this now. Import java.util.scanner. If I mention the scanner class, only this part will be included to my program, imported to my program. If I mention asterisk here, then all the classes in the scanner, all the classes in the util package will be loaded. Okay, if I mention just scanner here, from the util package, only scanner will be loaded to my program, included to my program. But if I mention asterisk here, all the classes from this package will be loaded. Okay, anyhow, you have huge memory in RAM, right? So no need to worry. You can load. Actually, అన్ని సిగ్నేచర్స్ వస్తాయండి, నో వరీస్. ఓకే, సో నా టర్మ్స్ మీకు అర్థం కాకపోవచ్చు, లైట్ తీసుకున్న తర్వాత అర్థం అవుద్ది. యూ కెన్ సింప్లీ present, you need to remember, you can either mention star or the scanner itself. Okay, so now let me repeat. The function, the method to read an integer value, from the user is nextInt, and nextInt belongs to scanner class, and it's an instance method. Therefore, create an object for the scanner class, and on that object call this nextInt method. But this scanner class belongs to util package, so you need to import that first. Now save and compile. You will not get error this time. There you go. Okay, right kada? So compilation successful. This is the process to read an input from the user. If you are trying to read number value, give nextInt. If you want to read float value, give next float, double at the next double, long at the next long, like that. Okay, so now run java io demo. Now it will ask, enter two numbers, right? ఇదే కదా మనం ఇచ్చాం, అదిగోండి, enter two numbers. So now we shall give some 10, enter 20. The sum is 30, right? Again run some 100, 200, sum is 300. Again run some 523, 689. Sum is 1221. అర్థమైనా? ఇజన్ గుర్తుంటుందా మీకు? నోట్స్ లేదు, ఏం లేదు, అంతా గాల్లోనే. అసలు అసలు ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడ నుండి చెప్పా. Fine. So now let me explain you the yesterday's program. I gave you an assignment, right? One homework. Enti? I gave you program where the user need to enter a number, an exact number. Yeah.
సార్ నెక్స్ట్ ఇంట్ అనేది నెక్స్ట్ ఇంట్ మెథడ్ మనం లోడ్ చేయడానికి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసాము.
Mm.
మరి ప్రింట్ అనేది కూడా మెథడే కదా, దానికి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయక్కర్లేదా?
Very good doubt, Shreya. Awesome, asle. Actually, I thought to say that, but I forgot anyhow. You asked the doubt. Listen, మీకు రాలేదు ఆ doubt. A doubt is, sir, you are saying next int method is use it to read an integer value from the user, but we do not have next int method in our program. It belongs to some scanner class of util package. Therefore, you created object for that scanner class, and on that object you are calling next int method. Fine. So not only next int method, still now we used something like println method. We used println method to print statements to the output, right? Println also doesn't belong to our class, doesn't belong to our program. Then why didn't we create any object for println, and why didn't we import any class for println? That is her doubt. Okay, very good doubt. The point, the answer is println is println method is called on out object. This is here, out is an object. I told you, right? You are going to learn this later classes, because now if I explain you are going to get confused, but still I am going to explain something. Actually, what is it? It means println is a method, out is an object, and system is a class. Hello, who is that? Okay, so thing is println is a method, out is an object, system is a class. This is a bit weird for you, a bit different. On class, on object, you're calling a method. Either on class or on object, you used to call methods, right? But here I'm using the class name and also the object name. Anyway, I'm going to explain later, but here, let me tell you, this line, this println line is there, right? All these things, system class, the strings class, these two classes belong to lang package. Here, just watch it carefully. Everything which appears in red color, the scanner, strings, and system, three classes we have in this program. These three classes, I mean, the red color things are classes. Scanner class belongs to util package, so you are importing the util package. But which class this string and system belong to is the question now. That is the question asked by Shreya. Yes, we are using two more inbuilt classes, string and system, but we are not importing any package of it. Sir, in the folder, in our folder, we do not have string class also, system class also. You said we do not have scanner class, but because it belongs to some other package like util, therefore you need to import it. But same way here, string class is used, system class is used, and these are also doesn't belong to our folder, right? Then why aren't we importing any package? Yes, the answer is, first let me tell you, we have a package java.lang. Okay, no space here, that is why I'm using here only. So we have lang package, java.lang, lang package. Inside that we have system class and string class. Okay, system class, classes which we were mentioning all these days, system class and string class. Okay, fine. So system and string class belong to lang package. Then why is it not showing any error when we are using them in our program? You need to import them also, right? Import java.lang. Both system and scanner, or else simply asterisk. That means all the classes will be imported. So this line has to be given all these days. But without giving this line, we were able to compile. Why? Because this is default. Default means even if you import or do not import, the JVM is going to import automatically because lang package is a default package. You need not to import it separately. It's optional because it will be imported automatically. That is the answer, Shreya. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you have learned string and system belong to some lang package, but it need not to be imported because it can be imported automatically. Will be imported automatically. But scanner class belongs to util package. Util class is not going to be imported. Util package is not going to be imported automatically. You need to import it manually by writing yourself. Okay, fine. So, minute program explain cheyna apena. Hello. నిన్నటి ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయనా ఆపైనా చెయ్యండి సార్ యోవిష్ నాకు ఆఫర్లు ఇస్తున్నావు నవ్య నేను నీకు ఆఫర్లు ఇస్తే సరే చేయండిలే
మీరు అనుకుంటే చేస్తారు కదా సార్.
ఓకే సో ఫస్ట్ లెట్ మీ షో యూ ద అవుట్పుట్ హియర్ CLS okay Java the class name was guess so the program is listen this is how the output should be displayed. First you need to ask to enter him the correct number. Okay, the user, the developer, the program developer would be given any number. Okay, it could be anything, 1000, 100 or anything. The user, the one who is using this program, has to guess the correct number. Suppose he has given 500. It is saying your number is too big. Okay, when the user enters a number which is bigger than the correct number, it should display your number is too big. Now if he gives another number, it is saying the number is too small. Okay, if the user enters any number which is less than the correct number, it should display your number is too small. Okay, so this is how the program should go. You put some number, you directly take a variable, some correct number, and you give any number as you wish. Now when the user enters any number bigger than that number, it should display like this, your number is too big. If the user enters any number less than that, it should display like this, your number is too small. So with multiple attempts, at one point of time he will guess the correct answer. Okay, so now the user will guess 500 is too big, 200 is too small. That means between these two only. So therefore let me give 300. 300 is saying it is too big. That means let me give 250. It is saying, sorry, 250. It is saying too small. Okay, so 300 ki 250 ki madhyalo unnattu. Therefore let me give 260. 260 also too small. So let me give 270. 270 is too big. That means there is a number between 270 and 260 only. Okay, let me give 265. Okay, this is too big. That means number is going to be between 260 and 265 only. Therefore let me give 262. And now the answer is right. Okay, so in this way you need to prompt him again and again until he enters the correct answer. Okay, but at the end you need to display your guess is right and also the number of attempts he has taken to guess the correct answer. He has taken 9 attempts, right? You guessed the number in 9 attempts. So this is the program. So for this, let me take a new file. So listen here, you need not to take any multiple classes or even methods also. You make it simple. You can simply write it in main method only. Okay, so let us say the class name is guess. I already given that, but just I'm showing you. So what is the first line? He has to be read. Can you display enter the correct number? This is the string, right? We're going to present him. Enter the correct number. Okay, fine. So when this string is displayed, he is going to enter a number. Therefore you need to read the number, let us say into n equals to next int. But next int cannot be given directly, right? You need to create an object for some scanner class. Scanner, yes, sc equals to any object name. Not only s, you can give sc scan anything. new scanner of system.in, pass the constructor argument system.in. Now on that object, call this nextInt. And of course, when you are using scanner class, you need to import that. So import it so that compilation will be successful. Fine. Now the user has entered and you have read it into N. First of all, you need to put your number, right? The correct number. Let us say CUR is the correct number. I am giving some value. Which value I have given? 262, right? Fine. Now, I am going to count the number of attempts he made to guess the correct answer. For the first attempt, count plus plus. Second number, count plus plus. In this way, take a variable count, int count, and initialize it to 0 initially. Okay. Int count, initially 0. So for every attempt, you increment the count value. He has entered one value, increment the count. Entered second value, increment the count. Entered third value, increment the count. In this way, for every number he has entered, you will be incrementing count value, and at the end, you need to display the number of attempts. That is the count value. So here the logic is the same process is being repeated or not. First, let me give like this. Actually, how we are going to compare whether the number is equals to 262 or not. First one is check if the entered value, user entered value is equals to our value or not. Our value is CUR, right? And the user entered value is N. So compare N with R. If it is yes, if the value is true, display the string. Which string? Which string we are displaying? Your guess is correct. Your guess is right. So I should display your guess is right. Okay. And what if he enters bigger number? That is, if N is greater than CUR. You have next condition, right? If the number is greater than the current number, you need to display your number is too big. Your number is too big. Okay. Tarvata, what if he enters less number less than to the current number? You need to display the number is too less. For this, you need not to give any if condition. You can simply go with else block. You all know this, right? Flow control statements. You have read these in C language. రాదు అంటే నేను ఏం చేయలేను, మళ్ళీ చెప్పాలి, సి చెప్పాలి. అప్పుడు ఎవరికైనా రాకపోతే చెప్పండి, చెప్తా. Your number is too big కదా, ఇక్కడ your number is too small. That's it. So what is going to happen if the user entered exact value which is matching with our current value? We are going to display this string. Your guess is right. If the user entered any number bigger than the current value, you're going to display this string. Your number is too big. Other than, equals to, and other than, greater than, it is obviously less than. Therefore, in the else block, you give this. Your number is too small. Okay. But this is not one-time process, right? This is not one-time process. This process has to be repeated until the user guesses correct answer. So repeated statement in the sense, what you need to include here? Yes?
Loop.
Repeated statements in the sense, what we are going to do? Come on. Loop and babu, iterative statements. When you are going to repeat these statements until the user enters correct value, you need to repeat them. Avuna kada? Therefore, you put all this stuff in a loop, some while loop. Okay, include all this thing in while loop, any loop, because this whole thing has to be repeated until when the user entered correct value. Avuna kada? So let me do not bother about the condition, simply give true here. In C, you can give 1, But in Java, you need to give the Boolean value true, right? That means this loop will be incremented again and again, again and again, because every time it is giving true only. There is no condition. I did not include any condition. But when does this loop should stop? When the user enters correct value. That is, here I should put a break statement. When the user entered a correct value, I need not to repeat the loop. I should come out of the block. That is break statement. Give break statement, it will break the loop. Other than this condition, if the number is greater and if the number is less, the loop is going to be repeated again and again. Okay, but here one thing is there. For every time you are asking enter your number, enter your number, enter correct number, correct number, correct number, right? That means this line should also be included in this loop only, and this line should also be included in loop only. Okay, you mentioned this line object creation above the loop, but these two lines, which lines? The string which we ask the user to enter and the line where we read the input value should be included in loop also. Okay, the point. So what is going to happen? Loop is repeated again and again. So this string will be given again and again. That is what happening here, right? Enter correct number, enter correct number, enter correct number. So again and again and again and again, the string is being displayed for every iteration. And after that, you are reading the user entered number. You're reading every time. That means this reading statement should also be included in loop. Okay, and now the comparison should be done every time. The comparison should also be done every time. Check whether it is equals to current. Check whether it is greater than current. Check whether it is less than current. Yes, if it is equal, then you should stop the loop. Then you need not to enter the string again. You need not to display the string, this string again. Like saying enter correct number, you simply display this string and come out of the loop, come out of the program. That's it. Avuna kada? Advaina? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Fine. కానీ ఇంకా ఉన్నది, every time this thing is happening, that means every time the user is entering the data, we should count the values, right? That is why we have taken count equals 0. Therefore, every time in this loop, you increment the value, count plus plus. For every iteration, you're going to increment the value, count plus plus. First time user enter chesadu, count increment. Second time user entered the value, count increment. Third time user entered the value, count increment. But when is the loop is going to stop? When he enters the correct value, then we have put break statement. Then the loop comes out of the body. Then the control comes out of the loop. After coming out of the loop body, after coming out of the loop body, you display the string. Which string? Number of guesses. Number of guesses. And petti count. Display the count value. That's it. Easy, right? Simple program. దీనికి నేను అడిగింది జస్ట్ ఈ కోడ్ అడిగాను. ఈ కోడ్, ఈ పార్ట్ ఎన్ని లైన్స్ అండి? మహా అయితే 10 లైన్లు. దీనికి ఏవేవో రాసుకెళ్ళిపోయారు. సో ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ చాలా వీక్గా ఉన్నారు మీరు. ఇది అర్థమైంది కదా? ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇది చూపించను. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేస్తారంటే క్లాస్ అవ్వగానే వెంటనే, సరే లంచ్ చేస్తారేమో, క్లాస్ అయినా ఒక 3 PM లోపు సేమ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ నాకు రాసి చూపించండి. సేమ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ జావాలో. సి అయినా ఓకే. ఓ మై గాడ్, ఆల్రెడీ నేను జాష్మాకి పంపించాను కదా, మీరు అది చూడొద్దు, ఓన్గా చేయండి. ఓన్గా చేసి ఎస్ నాకు వచ్చింది సార్ అనండి. సిస్టమ్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు మీరే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసి చూడండి. ఓకే, ఫైన్, క్లాస్ ఓవర్.